If you want to have a go at plaiting wire, here's a very simple little project to make a bangle. So you will need a table bench vice clamp. So you can get little mini ones like this. They're for all sorts of people to do hobbies and things like that. And all you have to do is clamp that onto your tabletop. So you're just screwing in the base there, and it's going to sort of sit nice and steady. Make sure it is steady. And then you turn the handle and that will open up the vice bit on the top to secure anything you need. So I've cut some wires here. I've got six, I think it's 10 inch, 10 inch lengths of 0.8 millimeter, that's 20 gauge wire. And I'm taping all the ends together at the very end. So I've just got a bit of masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you want to call it, just to hold them in place so they don't fall apart. And of course you must just straighten them out a bit so that they're all in, together, sitting as a bunch. Then clamp them into the vice, the jaws of the vice, and then separate them out in twos. Now I'm going to do my plait 2 by 2. Sounds like Noah's Ark, doesn't it? But it just makes it a little bit more substantial when you're using thinner wires like this. But if you have very chunky wires, of course you can just do 3 wires. But you can do you can double them up like this. You can put 3 like this. This is just to get you started with inspiration. So I'm going to take my first set of 2 and I'm going to bring it across the first one. And then you bring it, just like plaiting hair. So I don't really need to explain plaiting. So if you've ever plaited hair, you're doing exactly that, but obviously it's a little bit tougher. So you're pulling the wire and you're trying to keep a straight line. You're trying to keep the tension so that you haven't got a big bulge, and you just get into this rhythm of plaiting. This is 0.8 millimeter gauge, and you can see you just form this lovely plait. So you would do that all the way along until you have a strip. Now I'm just going to take my masking tape off the end. You might have to actually cut it off because it can be quite sticky. So pull the tape off, and then you're going to separate out the wires. So I've taken the tape off now, and I want to have the same amount of wires separated at each end. So there we have it. We've got all the wires spread out, and now take one of the wires and wrap it around the end. So that just holds all the end of the plait in place, really. But it also gets rid of it. You just cut off the end. So that's holding it there at the end. Squish it down. Do the same. So whichever wire seems nearest to the end, pick it up and then pull it around all the end bunch at the very tip of your plait. And then you are left with the 5 remaining wires to create spirals out of, or put beads onto, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do spirals on all of them, but of course you could thread a bead onto a few of them. The only thing I'd say about when you make bangles with beads just on one end, what happens is it tends to, with gravity, when you're wearing it, it tends to slip around and fall at that end. So I'm going to make the whole thing out of wire. So here, just scrolling, spiraling, and I'm going to use one to cover my wrap. So you see it's covering that wrap I made first of all, and then all the others I'm going to turn into decorative spirals that will just have a nice ornate effect at the end of my bangle, but it'll be an open bangle, so I'm not I'm not, making a fastener in any way. So just scroll them all down, spiral them all together, and then spend a bit of time readjusting them in a sort of nice arrangement that you're happy with. And once you've done that, you can start shaping it with your hands. You see, I'm just sort of molding it into a shape. But if you have, I've got this wooden bangle mandrel, but if you have a rolling pin, you have something round, you put it around this. It's got to be something smaller than you actually want the bangle to be, because wire has a spring to it. And then just gently stroke the plait so that that flattens any wires that were a little bit raised. And really, that's all that you have to do. Plaiting wire is that simple, and it has this lovely sort of Celtic look to it. So do have a go, and you can see these are some of my experiments, trying out different things. That's actually with aluminium wire, and it's obviously just 3 wires there, and I've connected that. This one, I used so much wire that I actually could make a sort of almost a double bangle and then put a bead at the end. This one I sewed I've sort of connected the 2 double bits together and put a chain on the rest, and it's quite attractive. So have a go. That's what we've just made. And once you've sort of played around with this idea, you'll see how simple it is, and then you can make your own variations. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.